give it a few minutes. I'm just waiting for a few more to arrive.
In chat now, 10 in chat. Hello, hello, hello. God, I bet you want to. Oh, I better turn this down here because this is what tells me what questions have been asked. You see, in live chat. So I just need to put the live chat on now. So let's just do that. Live chat. There we go. Better turn that down. It's like a little bit of a delay there, isn't there? Okie dokie. Right. Hello, watchers.
Hello.
First things first, I think it will be only polite for you just to say who you are and where you're from. Doesn't that sound like some sort of game show, does it really? Who you are and where you're from. I've got the chat on here. So I can see what you're saying. Welcome, guys.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's been a long time.
Yes,
it really has.
It's
been ages.
And
ages.
If you can hear us clearly, which is the most important thing, give us a thumbs up just to let us know that you can have. I haven't got the. I'm just waiting for the chat to come on my side of things here, guys.
I can see it on the screen there. Looks.
Yeah, no, but I need it on here really.
Sorry, we've got multiple screens on the go.
Just bear with us. We'll get there in the end. Okay, just got to make.
If you can hear jingling, it's not Santa. And we'll tell you about.
Well, tell them about the dog first. Well, I sort the technical difficulties out.
Okay then. Right. So you might remember, in our last video, we showed you our dog Roxy, who I'd had for about 13 years, something like that.
That's it.
Quite an old girl. Anyway, very sadly, we lost Roxy at Christmas. She'd been poorly for quite a while. And then just into the new year, we decided to adopt another dog. So we adopted Titch, who is beautiful. And when we'd had Titch for about 3 weeks, we found out that Titch was expecting a baby. And she was about halfway by then. I thought dogs were pregnant for 6 months, but no, 63 days or something, or whatever it is.
So let me just clarify that. We end up having a rescue dog.
Yeah.
That then is up the dove, basically.
Well, yeah, she was expecting a baby, so that was kind of towards the end of January, and then 7th of March, baby dog arrived, didn't she?
Yeah. Let's give you a little better look at this one.
She's a big girl now, but she was tiny when she was born. So this is Luna and this is Titch.
Yeah.
So we lost our lovely Roxy, but we've gained 2 dogs. So we decided to keep Baby as well. Excuse me, but Baby is very naughty.
Yeah.
Really naughty. Titch is such a good mum. She's great. She's calm. She's lovely. But this one is absolutely crazy. She really is. So she's nearly 4 months, isn't she now? She'll be 4 months at the end of next week.
Steals anything that isn't nailed down.
Yeah, bites everything. She's a chewer. She's a digger.
Yeah.
She's really naughty.
Well, let me just say.
And if she wasn't so cute, well, she'd be in big trouble.
Well, I just want to say hello first of all to a few people. So that's to Natalie, to Tom Bruce, Pammy. Greg as well. Greg's in Manchester. Pammy is in Buckinghamshire. Buckinghamshire, the land of my favourite place. Now, does anybody know where my ultimate favourite place is in Buckinghamshire? See if anybody knows where I'm at. So yeah, James and Karen is there as well. Well, thanks guys for joining us.
Yeah.
You've been patient with us, haven't you? You've been really, really patient.
You've hung in there.
Yeah. And literally, you know. So what we want you to do is, I'm going to tell you also a little bit about what we've been up to and what we're doing, you know, and what we've been up to during lockdown. But any questions you've got on any of the house builders or any sites or anything like that, fire them over to me and I'll try to answer them as much as I can.
Yeah, because it's a strange time for houses, isn't it? Sorry, this little one is...
They fight.
Well,
They
no,
fight.
baby fights with her mum.
So, just kicking off with James O'Toole, he just mentioned that he's buying a David Wilson home, the same as the Ketley of the film that we did. And that film made his mind up. Well, it is funny because the name the Ketley, basically, on that particular development, which is it's a garden village, and we're talking to a development in our hometown of Telford in Shropshire. So you'll see there's lots of Telford videos. And the house types there were all renamed after local places. So Ketley is actually a place in Telford, but actually the house type is known as other things depending on what area. So they name.
David Wilson do that all over the country.
Really,
don't
it
they?
is.
They give the houses on developments regional names.
Yeah, it is actually really, really
because ultimately
annoying.
David Wilson's portfolio is that all the house types are numbered. They don't have names, do they, so much? They have a huge portfolio of numbers, and then wherever they are in the country they just give them individual names to make them look like they're individual house types.
Oh, they certainly
but they're
do.
not really.
Yeah.
They're not.
But as every developer has been started to change its portfolio over the last kind of 6-7 months or so, David Wilson have kind of just stayed the same and kept their brand pretty much the same as their house types, bar renaming them a little bit. Barrett's have got a whole new portfolio, as you probably know, but it's not actually a portfolio really. They've just gone back to the Premier Collection houses from the sort of late 90s and just basically took the bells and whistles off them and actually created quite standardised looking houses really. Okay, so Pammy said that she's totally in love with countryside properties. Thanks to your videos, there is a site coming soon in Rugby which we will hopefully be getting in our price range. Yeah, one thing about countryside properties is, you know, they're a different breed of house builder really. They've purposely set up only recently a Midlands based division, and they're actually developing in Telford now. They've got a new site as well that's starting, yeah, we're really looking forward to. You just get, even their affordable houses look really good as house types, but
They do build a nice house.
you know, I can remember one of our first countryside properties is when we viewed the ones in Cambridge at Great Knighton Village, and that was just like something we'd never seen before.
Yeah.
And I can remember them coming to Telford and everyone going, well, we've never heard of this countryside properties, who are they? And it was quite interesting. I was thinking, do you know what, you just wait, because you know their developments are really good, and actually true to form.
They've not built that kind of thing here though, have they?
No, they haven't built that kind of thing, but even their smaller house types are really good.
Yeah.
So Emma, do you want to tell them? So let's go back right the way back now to last year, because as you probably noticed, we had a bit of a break, didn't we?
We did. I don't think it was particularly intentional. We'd done dozens and dozens and dozens of developments, so we had quite a lot in the bag, didn't we? So we took some time off over the summer, and as I've mentioned, our dog was quite poorly, so we didn't really want to go very far and away from home and leave her, did we? So we didn't even have a holiday last summer.
No. I think the last holiday.
And then time just kind of ticks on. Oh yeah. Well, then obviously we were planning a big holiday for February this year, because I was 50 in January, and we went to America, of which we've made some videos for you. So we knew we were going on a massive holiday in February, so that was kind of what we were gearing up for, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So really, we didn't do a lot because we do have day jobs as such, don't we? So
Yeah.
we were kind of tied up with that. Things were very busy.
Well, we actually kind of changed our day jobs, didn't we?
Oh no!
I'm being attacked.
Oh, crazy pooch. We told the viewers about that last time in our last video. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because that's 2 years ago already.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, time flies when you're not having fun.
2 years.
Quite literally.
Yeah. And then so we had Christmas, didn't we?
Yeah. I think we'd done most of. I think we got to the point where we pretty much done the developers' portfolios to death, and I thought, do you know what? Sometimes you just got to, and I knew there was a lot in the pipeline, so there wasn't much point on reviewing.
And we'd been on a big red row
binge, yeah.
Huge, yeah.
Well, that's it, and I think we just got to the point where we knew certain developers were changing their house types, so it was probably better that we don't do anymore, because those house types would have been extinct, wouldn't they, really? So we waited until these new portfolios. Now we're talking from Taylor Wimpey have introduced a lot of new house types. Bovis completely have changed everything. Barrett's have also gone through and changed a lot of their house types, and a lot of others have as well. So we wanted to make sure that we had a good selection of show homes open that we could go and hit, and then bring that portfolio, put that portfolio to you. So that's kind of where we've what we've kind of tried to do.
And then, well, I'm sure you guys all know what's happened this year. So we went to America, didn't we, in February, and we went on a long holiday. And no sooner did we come back, and then within 3 days, Titch had a baby.
So I'm just looking at your.
So we got baby dog, and then 2 weeks later it was lockdown. So that was it, really.
It certainly was. Yeah. So so during lockdown, obviously, one thing we wanted to do was we wanted to actually go around the country looking at houses, different houses and stuff like that. And we'd love to have done a world tour, but that wasn't going to happen. And so that's why we released the around the world video there, really. I'm just trying to get your live, get the live chat back up. Yeah, got it now. So.
And it was difficult to go anywhere with a puppy, to be honest. A tiny baby.
So, question from Pamela Powell. What happens if you buy a show home? Can you buy all the bits and pieces inside?
You can indeed.
Well,
yeah,
you can buy, but what a lot of show homes are actually there's certain style. What do they call them?
Interior designers.
Yeah, a few interior designers actually sometimes rent those pieces to them sometimes, and furniture.
Yeah, but also what developers do is that they give interior designers a budget to furnish that show home. So they pay for it outright, and then they will sell that show home. You have the option of buying it fully furnished. You'll pay a price for it, or not if you don't want any of it, if it's not your cup of tea. There might be one or two things. I know quite a lot of people that have actually bought a fully furnished show home. I mean, how wonderful. Wow. I can't think of anything nicer.
So guys, keep your questions coming. A good example of that was a show home over here in Telford, and I saw some artwork in one of the show homes, a Taylor Wimpey show home, and it was some sort of pop art type picture of a house type that was on the development. And I mentioned that I wouldn't mind Taylor Wimpey giving me that artwork at the end. Of course they didn't. And then the customer, the lady who bought the show home, so she obviously bought everything, fixtures, furnished, pictures, everything, and then said, "Would you like the picture?" So we ended up getting the picture in the end.
She got in contact, didn't she? And she didn't like them.
So this is from Jay Blue. Me and my partner love your videos. We bought our current house because of you. Well, thank you. We have the Alton G by Taylor Wimpey. Yeah. Thanks for the great video. The Alton G. Now that's a good little house type. That is.
It's quite a rare one though. You don't always see that everywhere.
No, the G actually means something to do with the top floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody was wondering, it's to do with the dormer. Which actually, do you want to enlighten us on why it is called the G? Because I think I heard it was something to do with that very thing. To be honest with you. So what we got then? Good question. Are we estate agents? Now that's quite an interesting question actually. We're not, because estate agents sell houses and they make money on it, don't they? Okay. We don't sell houses. All we do is review it and to give you our opinion on it. Then that's up to you. You choose to buy it, and you're not going to buy a house just on our opinion. You're going to go and look at the show home. So really, when you visit the show home, that is the sales lady or gentleman is the salesperson, the estate agent.
Essentially.
Yeah.
For us, it started off as just looking around show homes, didn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously now we do work with developers. We work in collaboration with a lot of developers, and I suppose we are selling their houses for them. We are advertising them, but we give our own opinions. If we don't like a house, we'll say. We give you our honest opinion of what we think of it, and I think we've probably been in more show homes than lots of people. Yeah, we've been all over the place. So I wouldn't say we were estate agents, but we do contribute to selling houses in a roundabout way.
I mean, for instance, I was doing a little bit of a comparison on developers' own YouTube channels and own media platforms over the COVID period, and actually, we are still outperforming the developers' own YouTube channels. So people are coming to us before they would do, because we've got the big selection, haven't we?
We've got all the developers on there. That's why.
Yeah.
If you go to their individuals, you're looking at their own houses, aren't you? Whereas on our channel, you can get a good look at most of the top developers.
Exactly. I mean, like developers, when they put their little video on, which is only a couple of minutes long, isn't it? They're showing you what you need to see.
What they want you to see.
Yeah, what they want you to see.
Yeah.
And we show you. We're giving you the.
Well, it will be warts and all.
Yeah.
But hopefully we pick out the good things as well.
Yeah.
And I like to think we have quite a rounded view of show homes because we've been in so many.
Yeah, we're impartial, aren't we? Really, in a way, aren't we? Because we
absolutely we are. Because we do all the developers.
Yeah, we can't really slap. I have my personal favourite, which is going to bring me on to the next question.
Yeah. The dogs are quiet now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So you have your Natalie Periu that's her name. Hopefully, wanting to move from Surrey to Staffordshire, but not really sure what developer is best. Well, Staffordshire could. What particular?
We're not going to say who's best and who isn't.
Well,
because ultimately, if you're going to spend that money,
but I am going to say what's available. Okay, so Staffordshire is a broad area. Really, you've got a lot of developers in there. So if you're not looking to join
any particular area, because Staffordshire is massive.
Yeah, I mean, Natalie, if you could say to me, Natalie, what area you're thinking now, I can answer that probably a little bit better for you. But in Staffordshire, you've got a lot of developers. So if you're not looking at the mass developers, the Taylor Wimpey's, the Barretts and all that, we've got a lot of other developers that are in Staffordshire, such as St Modwyn Homes. They've got a few developments in and around kind of Stoke-on-Trent, that kind of neck of the woods. You've got developers like Seddon as well. Another good one is Walton Homes, very small select developer. But also we've got Anwil Homes that have come into Stone in Staffordshire. And Belway have got various sites. Not a lot going on with Plural, really.
All the big.
Yeah, of course you've got all the bigger developers.
They're all there.
Yeah. I mean, in Stafford, Taylor Wimpey has just started a big site there called Burley Fields, which building almost a village-sized development there. I think Taylor Wimpey's probably got maybe 2-3 sites in the Stafford area. And of course, we can't forget, if you're looking for something really big, David Wilson at Wedgwood Park.
Did you say Cannock? I'm sure I just saw that.
Oh, yes, Cannock, yes.
Cannock. That
Well,
narrows it down.
yeah, that narrows it down for us. So in Cannock you've got David Wilson there. Apologies, not David Wilson. You have got Barrett's there. They've got a new site over there, and that's basically your normal Barrett portfolio that you get. You've got Persimmon there. They're building Greenwood. It's Greenwood Village there.
Let me have a look at the questions while you're answering. Oh, they've gone.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, you can read them out. Okay. Yeah. And Cannock's a great place really. I mean, it's not a massive amount there because there's not a great deal of land left in. But with Cannock with Stafford just up the road, there's some really good hot buys in the Stafford area.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. Got a good question from James. No. How do you pronounce that? Lefebvre? He says, thanks guys, love your videos. Do you do YouTube full time, or are you property developers, or do you have day jobs?
Wow, they say don't give up your day job.
Well, we did, but to do something else, didn't we?
Yeah.
That is 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. It's not our main job. We're not with you don't make a living out of YouTube unless we're reviewing houses. We're not. It always seems a bit crazy that people who look around Poundland and video it seem to make a living out of YouTube. I don't know, but the trouble is
I have threatened to do that because I love watching Poundland hauls.
Okay.
But anyway, yes, we do have jobs. We both work part time.
We work for the local authority, don't we?
Yes.
We're both in managerial positions.
Yeah. Which initially was to leave a lot more time for YouTube, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it leaves our particular days free. To do it, but obviously during
we just haven't for a while, have we?
No.
I suppose we plan to get back to it.
Ultimately. Yeah.
That's the thing. Once the world goes back to some semblance of normality, whenever that will be.
But I have kept some videos back for you, which I'm going to start releasing over the next few weeks. So we didn't really, because we did have a huge backlog, and that was one of the problems of videos. So we're going to upload some more, so you can at least every other week until we can get out and get the portfolios done. So what else we got?
So James O'Toole wished me happy 50th. Thank you very much. I am quite a bit older than Steve, but that's all right. Yeah, that was back in January. It's like it never happened, to be honest. And then we went to America and fab, but the world is just different, isn't it?
I like it. I think it's I think it's nice and quiet.
Here we go. Emily Powell's asked, do you live in a new build house?
No.
No, we don't.
No, which is quite surprising, isn't it? I bet you're expecting me to go something like, well, I wouldn't even buy a new build. Do you know what? I think,
I've been in some absolutely beautiful ones.
I tell you what, do you know, like some people, they have their hobby is cars, and they have various different cars, and they have them and they put them in the garage. I'd do that with houses. There's certain houses that I would like to buy, and I'd just keep them because I do like houses that much.
So, where's it gone? Rose Kitten, how do you think COVID will affect completion dates? I have no idea.
I think it'll affect completion dates in terms of developing, how quick the developers are getting back. I mean, the problem is now is how many companies, how many tradesmen have gone out of business, sole traders and stuff have gone out of business painters, decorators, etc. I think the problem is not having the resources or even the building materials to actually complete these houses. Really, I mean, from what I've heard, it sounds quite encouraging that plots are still being, they are still selling houses. It's a bit of a pain, the old having to register to go and visit and stuff like that, because we like to just turn up, don't we? Like to turn up.
Obviously, we're invited by.
Yeah. Like, but I think, for instance, our local Red Rose site, it kind of looks like, even though they are there, it just seems like nothing's going on there. It doesn't seem like they've, because a lot of people have gone and lost their jobs, and where are they?
And yet we do have a Taylor Wimpey and a Persimmon just up the road, and I've seen guys there working.
Yeah.
So things are moving on. I just don't think they're moving as quickly as they were.
No.
And I don't think they've got their whole workforce.
But I've seen the show homes on our local Lawley. They're all sort of they're all getting ready for the big opening, or the small opening.
So we've got some viewers in other countries. We've got James in Switzerland. I love Switzerland. It's fabulous. Yes. And then we've got a Janine in, I think she's in Hong Kong, I think. Greetings from Hong Kong. I'm wondering what you guys think about BNO issues. The whole British government granting Hong Kongers to move and stay in the UK thing as British. I'm not quite sure what. Yeah. The whole British government granting Hong Kongers to move and stay in the UK thing as British.
I think that's kind of passed us by a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, well, obviously we know what's been going on in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Right. What's Greg Clark said? Would you ever think about showing a clip of the housing estate, the roadside, along your review of the house on future videos? Oh, do you mean show the show home, the actual road it's on? Would you ever think about showing a clip of the housing estate / the road alongside your review of the house on future videos?
Yeah, I would say look out, because we are going to change the way we do the filming, because
I think so, yeah. Things just evolve, don't they?
I think
we did used to do that. We used to do drive-throughs of developments and things.
Yeah.
It's just about time, ultimately. If we've got 10 developments to get through, or 10 show homes to do in a day, if you're filming the actual developments and the roads and things as well, it's just very, very time consuming. It takes a long time.
What I will try and do, though, on some sites is, it depends where it is and what the location are and the constraints are. I will send a drone up and give you a bit of a perspective of the development or the scale of it. So, that's kind of something we're going to add to the, a bit of drone footage to it, which is really going to be really good.
Oh, well, that's James O'Toole has mentioned drones, maybe.
Yeah, I
Steve, yeah, you've got...
Yeah, I'm actually,
You've got 2 drones, haven't you? He's got a mummy drone, a big drone, and a baby drone, a small one.
If anybody, my drone footage and stuff, I'm sure a few of you know that I've got another channel called Telford Ultimate Guide. It's called That's Where I Live, and that's the kind of I make films about my local area. I know James Easton, he's on that, but it's worth taking a look. Telford Ultimate Guide, give us a subscribe to it, and then you'll be able to see some of my drone footage and stuff, some of the drone films that I've made. Yeah, because obviously I make documentaries as well in my spare time.
Right, Kieran Gall said, would love to hear your thoughts on the Persimmon Elgin, the Scottish version of the Hatfield. What do you know about that?
Oh God, Persimmon. Do you know why? I get Persimmon now. I get why their houses are like that, but honestly, they are messing about a little bit now. So what they've decided to do now is, like, the Chatsworth is a new house type, but it's not. It's really just a Rufford. Just I can't. It's wrong. But yeah, it's funny. I have seen house types like the Hatfield on certain developments where the council have been really pushy about design, and they've really had to. make them look really nice, a really nice looking house. So if you just do a Google search on Persimmon, you'll see that at the houses you've got that basic range, basic house types, and then you've got variations of them that look really nice sort of gables and stuff like that. And I've learned that's down to the council really on how they are on conservation. You know, do they really want do you really want a house type that's got really good curb appeal? Because for me that is really important.
So Tom Bruce has asked a similar question. What are your opinions on the Corf house type / the Winster by Persimmon?
Yeah,
Have we ever been in a Corf? I don't know. We've been in a Winster, I think, haven't we?
Yeah. Again, you know, look, let's be economical with the truth here. Persimmon homes, you get what you pay for, okay? It's like...
No, I think they're a very... You know, people buy them. Just
I'll tell you something. They can buy. They will sell all day long because you know sometimes where can you get yourself a 3-bed house for about 198,000? You know, they're there. They're priced to sell. But you know, if you want a Persimmon house, you're not going to have all them bells and whistles. You're not going to have beautiful tile porches and, you know, really nice gables and brick detailing and tile hung elevations. You're not going to get all of that. You know, they're there for a reason. They're there to sell, aren't they? But all it does for me is just that I just think, you know, as developers and councils have a right to provide architecture and architectural interests. Like we look at Victorian houses and stuff now and we think, oh, they're really nice, and we're trying to buy up Victorian houses to convert them because we see the beauty in them now. Are we ever going to be thinking that about house types that Persimmon builds? Are we, you know?
Well, people will change them, won't they, over the years? People will...
But I think people don't stick in Persimmon houses. They're just they are just a springboard to something a bit bigger.
I think you find that on any new development.
Yeah.
You go back there 2 years later and there will always be a proportion of them up for sale with estate agents because people's life circumstances change.
They
For
are.
whatever reason, they get another job or they get married or, you know, people move on, I think.
One thing that I don't like is when you have a Charles Church site that they use Persimmon house types on. I think the Charles Church brand should be called executive housing. I mean, I think Persimmon should be building building 2s, 3s, and 4s, and then leaving the larger houses, so big 4 and 5s, to Charles Church. I don't like the mixing of the drinks with that.
Okay, let me answer the next one. And we've got Mr. Apple Fanboy. That's a funny name.
They just love
What a
YouTube names.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on Red Row in Allerton Gardens. And have you reviewed houses like the Highgrove? We have indeed reviewed the Highgrove a couple of times, haven't we? So they're on the channel.
We've got 2 Highgroves.
We have. Beautiful houses, they're absolutely beautiful, aren't they? So if you look back or go into the Red Row playlist, you'll find the Highgroves in there. They're just gorgeous.
They are getting on a little bit now, but I don't see the Highgrove on many sites, not much really.
No.
You know, they're
It depends on the development, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it is a beautiful house though, that crisp, rugged render outside.
That is one of those that...
Actually, you can't call rugged render crisp. Apologies.
Right.
So
Tom Bruce, the Rufford is currently being phased out in my area and is being replaced by the...
Chatsworth.
There you go. Yeah.
And it's only, the Chatsworth it just looks wrong as a house, the Chatsworth does. If you're there, Google the Chatsworth now. It just doesn't look right. I think it's just at the moment where the Rufford has got the porch area, that bit on the bottom is over the garage. They've swapped that around. It just doesn't look right. But it enables them to build the Chatsworth as a semi-detached then, you see.
Do you think companies will struggle to sell new builds in the recession? I think when we are actually full-blown in recession, yes. I don't think it'll be just new builds. I think it'll be houses full stop. I think there is
It's about confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, because
I think
big
if
changes coming up.
have you got confidence in your job? Is your job stable? You know, I mean, maybe if you're a manager of a business, that's it really. What the COVID thing has done is really shook things up and actually made people realise that, do you know what, your job's not as safe as you
Well,
think it
It's
is.
not just that. I think it's made people think that life has thrown something here that none of us expected. It's completely pulled the rug from under all of us. I think there's been big changes.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep those questions
Mark
coming.
Johnson. Mark.
Mark
Glasnow.
Johnson.
Do you feel the way people view and buy houses will change post-lockdown? With so many online virtual tours, will the show home remain relevant or disappear completely?
Show homes have been there from day one. That's like saying, do you think you can go and... Well, I suppose it's like anything really. Would you go and buy a car without test driving
But
it?
then the thing is, you go and look at a show home on a development. So take Persimmon. They have one show home on a development that might have 20 different house types.
Yeah.
You're only looking at one house type, aren't you? And there are only maybe going to be, say it's a Hatfield. How many Hatfields are going to be on that development?
Yeah,
5?
exactly.
So there's only going to be 5 people that will actually buy that house type anyway.
What that's doing
The
now,
other 200 people will buy a completely different house type
Yeah.
that they haven't been able to view.
what they
They
actually
buy them
do
off plan.
is it's clever really when you put one show on, because it's getting people to go and potentially look in other areas that they wouldn't have considered. You know, like for instance, there's a Kendall in Stoke. That's the only Kendall in Miles, but then you know you can go and have a look at that. So that's why we try to get all of the portfolio house types from Persimmon.
Yeah, so that we've got at least one
Yeah,
on, haven't we?
yeah.
But yeah, potentially people drive 200 miles to look at a show home of the particular house type that they want to buy, because there won't be one on the site that they're buying.
If you're going to put,
Otherwise, you're buying it blind. Essentially,
if you're going to put 250,000 down on a house, you're not going to think nothing of driving.
I mean, I don't think that's going to be any different. Before COVID to after COVID.
No, the show home.
They're not going to build any more or less show homes, I don't think.
But the virtual tours are all very, very well and good, but they are virtual, aren't they? You know that you're going around, you're looking, there's no soul. Well, at least we tell you about it. You know, and we are looking in the cupboards and we are looking at how the house functions.
I'm sure some people like that though, don't they? Because they don't want to listen to us waffling along, but other people do. It's personal preference. Ultimately, you're going to put your money down and you're going to buy that house.
Yeah.
So
you won't buy a car without test driving it.
Yeah, whether you want to absorb absolutely as much information as you can find about that developer and that house type, that development, that area, as you possibly can. It's down to you to be as informed as you possibly can, because it's your money.
And we know people come back time after time after time and look at our videos, and they're because what it is they're going to buy that particular house type. For instance, the guy who bought the Ketley, you know, or the variation of the Ketley. I bet you've been on multiple times and looked in that, because it's exciting. All you've got is you're going to be waiting for that house to be built, and you just want to get to know that house. Yeah. So actually, Showhomesonline also is that really, because you can go in and keep looking at your home and get to know it and familiarise yourself with it. As you know, unless you're going to visit the show home 30 times a month.
The show home as well is there to wow you, but you are wowed by their decor that the interior designer has put there, haven't they?
Would it be as exciting if it had nothing in it?
When you actually get the keys to your new house, it will look completely different to the show home. It'll be empty, won't it?
I think for some people it's quite underwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're just like, oh my God, look at it.
I mean, you've got the excitement of a brand new house, haven't you? But it won't look like the show home.
I used to have a saying.
It's their shop window, ultimately.
I used to have a saying when I was a landscaper. It was, you know, when we used to design gardens for people, I'd say, you know, we can build that garden for you, but only you can make it. And it's the same respect of a house, isn't it? You make it what you want.
James O'Toole makes a good point actually. He says, I can give an insight on sales. I've seen 4 to 6 houses sell in the last 2 weeks. A couple came back up for sale and went quickly. So I think challenging, I think it means selling. But supply is less than demand in housing in the UK.
Now I've got something to add to this. I've noticed something interesting. There's a certain type of estate agent that I look at on YouTube, and they are from they were advertised in houses in Milton Keynes. What are they called? Those investors. Far East, is it? The investors. Yeah, they've started advertising. So even when the market's slowing down, the investors will just jump in there and snap those houses up and again start creating those ghost villages again, like we have in Milton Keynes.
James O'Toole asks, are we influencers? Yes, I would say we are. In terms of YouTube influencers, yes.
I just look at houses. Never thought about it like that.
I'll just... Pammy, will you be reviewing any more countryside properties?
Yes.
We do hope to be working with them again.
You see, I've got a lot of irons in the fire at the moment, and we are looking at various different things. I just want this next chapter of Showhomesonline to be just a little bit different, and we're going to try and redo it from the ground up, really. But yeah, I am, as soon as we can get out and start getting the countryside ones in the bag, we will be. Be nice to bring them, but we want you to bring you not just those big houses, but also give you the family houses that they're building now as well.
Okay, a different question. Rachel Laney, will you be reviewing any Davidson's properties in the future? I've not even heard of them.
I do love Davidson Homes. I do love their style, those beautiful country village style houses. I love them. I have tried to sort of ask them if we can come and review them, but we just haven't had any success with them. And it would be nice to just get at least one of theirs in the bag, really. But yeah, it's, you know, we have to work with these, and you know, it's got to be beneficial to them as well. So not for the one to try in, but never say never. It's on my list.
Just going back a little bit, James asks, what is the only one show home that has wowed you the most? And then he asks Red Row Ascot. Where was that? Where was a Red Row Ascot? Wasn't it a Bovis Ascot?
I was going to say. I
don't think Red Row do an Ascot. Bovis.
Yeah,
do.
Bovis. Yeah, Bovis.
Yeah, the Bovis Ascot.
Yeah, the Bovis Ascot, which
house.
Was.
Yeah, that's one new build
Was it
I would
Steeple?
move into.
I think it was down.
We've done 2 Ascots.
Yeah.
We did one at something beach. Where was that? Gosh.
There was one, I think it was Bursleden. I'm sure it was Bursleden. Yeah. Of course, we did travel about, didn't we?
We have been everywhere.
Yeah. I know what development you're talking about, but yeah, there is an Ascot.
The Ascot is a beautiful house. It's huge, isn't it?
But we're asking about Red Row.
Red Row didn't do an Ascot, I don't
No. Yeah, the Ascot.
I think it's Bovis.
Yeah, it is Bovis. But yeah, I do love... I'm looking forward to reviewing the new Bovis house types, absolutely. We are in talks about that at the moment, so we'll get that. We're going to get that sorted very, very soon. We've got plenty of developments to review from them, so that new Phoenix range of house types, we're going to be bringing them to you.
So Avril asks, out of all the show homes you visited, wow, that is a lot, which is your favourite builder?
Hang on, we got out the previous question asked what was our favourite show home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I'd say the Ascot is one of my favourites.
I don't know, I think the countryside properties, the Wyndham at
Wyndham.
Wyndham, yeah, King it's in the back of my head now. The one in Cambridge anyway, Great Knighton Village. That was just a house that went on and on and on, and it just was I felt Look, when you get to the feeling where you feel honoured to be looking round that house,
Yeah.
that's what you're dealing with there.
I mean, David Wilson built some beautiful houses, like the ones at Technol. They were just
Yeah. Some of the high-end David
fabulous.
Wilson
Yeah.
house types. But then, like I say, there's some really good house types from Redrow that are just wow factor houses.
Yeah,
The top
yeah.
end, like the Marlborough. And
Right, let's have a look.
right, we have that last question.
Yes, that's Avril asked
Yeah.
that.
The site she asked, didn't she?
Which is your favourite builder?
Oh.
I don't think I've got a favourite.
Well, I can have a favourite because obviously property is my hobby as well, and I actually do think my favourite house builder is Redrow because I don't know, I feel like I've been on a bit of a journey with them really. I mean, we're going right back to the days of like the 80s when I had a big Redrow sign on my bedroom wall.
Sorry, I've lost it.
I had a big Redrow sign on my bedroom wall. That's it.
Oh, there
Yeah,
you go, thank you.
it was huge, and I nicked it off the side of the road.
It's gone again.
Hold on,
Sorry.
there we go.
Thanks.
Yeah, a big Redrow sign on the bedroom wall. So I've loved Redrow. I've loved the journey Redrow's been on, and I just feel a lot more closer to Redrow than I do with any other developer. I think with Bovis as well, I feel like we've been on a journey with them as well, and I like that feel. I like where Bovis is at, and I like how they've really kind of improved what they've done and weathered the storm, but come out the other end a better house builder.
So, Jamie Bishop asks, how can developers get in contact with you to review their show homes? Well, they do indeed, because we do actually work in collaboration with a lot of developers.
Yeah.
And underneath all our videos, you'll see there's all our contact details there, and
Yeah.
they get in contact with us all the time.
If we
Steve's been particularly busy through COVID, haven't you?
Yeah. So my job is I source where we're going, and I communicate with a lot. So we're in talks with various different house builders.
So it did start as a hobby, didn't it?
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
it changed.
Yeah. I mean, some of my really early films. One day I'll dig one out, and when we were called, I was called the show house inspectors back in the day.
Yeah.
God, that was such an pretentious name, wasn't it?
So,
Do you going right the way back? Do you remember when we did that David Wilson house in Bicester, and we had that John Cleese lookalike guy as a salesman?
that is probably about 5 years ago.
Yeah, I
maybe
don't
longer.
remember.
Right,
that.
next question. Avril asks, what do you think about management companies and having to pay for maintenance on open spaces in new estates?
Well, you see, that is they did that so the council don't have to spend their own money on managing and cutting green space areas. Now, obviously, a lot of people pay these management fees and don't feel like they're getting value for money. I'd expect if you pay a management fee that you expected to have, I wouldn't be expecting to have weeds growing up through block pavers on parking areas. I would expect all of the shrubbery to be cut back and the grass to be cut. That's what you're paying for, and as long as you're getting your value for money, that's okay. But when you're not, which is...
It is also because when local authorities grant planning permission, they don't have the resources to take over cutting the grass and the maintenance of those areas. So it's in their planning permission, isn't it, that they have to have a responsibility for those areas long after those developments are built. Sorry, the puppy is right there.
And the other thing is developments have changed from the 90s onwards because they have flood alleviation ponds and things like that now. So there's a lot more open areas of open space which you have got these sustainable drainage channels and stuff like that need maintenance, mowing,
and
cutting.
They have to include little playgrounds and areas. Often they will have to build schools and shopping centres and all kinds of things.
Developers have to pay.
Yeah, which they remain responsible for, or they have management companies responsible for decades afterward. It's all tied in, isn't it, with the agreement in planning.
Yeah.
James, Bovis Ascot, of course. I thought so.
James, come on.
Chris Roberts asks, do you think Redrow are overpriced?
You get what you pay for with Redrow. You know what you're getting
They build
there.
a good house.
Yeah, you're getting a good house.
It depends where you live in the country as well, because pricing is always regional, isn't it?
Like I say, if you want a house that's just basically plain brick and a portico, plastic portico, then you're going to pay for that. But you want something that's Redrow. Don't forget, guys, that Redrow, the Heritage Collection, is timeless. You know, the faceless brick houses.
Those houses will still look good in 50 years' time.
Yeah, but will the faceless, will the render on these other types of houses, will that look good? You know, with Redrow, at least you're not potentially creating, as someone said, the slums of the future.
Right, here's a question for you. Mark Johnson says, what changes have you seen in new house design over the last 35 years, and do you find that modern homes are designed to match the way people live in 2020?
Yeah, I mean, let's go back to the 70s. So in the 70s, space was unlimited. You know, you'd have those 70s houses were big. You had big windows, big rooms, full length lounges. Then we rolled into the 80s where the mock Tudor sort of style come in, how houses looked. We started looking at different kind of elevations, and they had hipped roofs and all sorts of different things like that. But you also had the return of the fireplace, which Tarmac and the McLean Group were all doing. You had the fireplace back, and then the houses started to look like cottages a little bit more. We roll out of the 80s into the 90s, and I think executive houses become king then, where you had so many big houses. As the 80s, there was a good variety of smaller houses. Executive houses was the 90s thing, but in the 90s you had a lot more entrepreneurial. A lot of people were making a lot of money during the 80s. Into 2000, the government were changing information on density of housing estates. So they were cramming more houses into these. So developers worked out that actually we can squeeze more houses into one area, and you end up having these rabbit warren type housing estates. So then that is basically come right through into 2000. So now we're coming to the point now where houses are changing, where the likes of Redrow are bringing back that house where you've got your own driveway and a house looks good, and that's what we're back now. I think we've come full circle, and I think we are looking at the detached house coming back with the garden and the garage. Sorry, that was a long-winded question.
Right, Natalie asks, have you looked at an Alderney, a Barrett Alderney?
Yes, we haven't looked at the Alderney yet because this is the new range from Barrett. So the Barrett range, you've got the like stuff like the Alderney, the Derwent. A lot of them are named after lakes and stuff. They are the Premier Collection. So these houses aren't new. These houses have been around a long time. These were Barrett's Premier Collection. Now they have been basically the original Premier Collection. Are really nice looking houses, hipped roofs, nice gables and stuff like that. They have been stripped back bare to the bare brick, bit of detailing, and that's your house now. So the Alderney, they are what they are. I don't think now there's much of a comparison with Persimmon to the new range of Barretts we've got, really. I think we've got very stripped back houses.
Do you mean there's not much of a difference?
You know me, you know me by now.
Well, James says, how about TV? Give Phil and Kirsty a challenge.
Do you know what? Do you reckon you could do TV? I don't know.
I don't know if I'd want to. Ooh.
Well, we are technically. It would be great to have a show where we could do something like that, where we could take people around different show homes, couldn't we? And actually show them around it and go, right then, and we stand outside and go, oh, I wonder which one they want. Will it be Steve's choice or Emma's choice?
Who knows? I've lost the questions again.
She's not great at these questions.
Oh, yeah. No, dreadful.
There you go.
Right. Oh,
keep those questions coming in, guys. Really, that's what it's about. It's a good conversation. We're doing well tonight, aren't we?
No, I can't pronounce this name. Eui?
Yui.
E-U-O-I.
Yeah.
E-U-O-U-A-E. Do you prefer developments, sorry about that, I can't pronounce that. Do you prefer developments where there's just one builder or where there are two builders with houses mixed in together?
Yeah, consortium building,
yes.
yeah. Well, we've got that in Telford where Lawley is a consortium development. So you've got Barrett's, David Wilson, Charles Church on there. I prefer.
That's a good question, actually.
Yeah, I prefer developments to stand alone. Really, I just think the street scene. I think you could really plan better. The trouble is, you do get a randomised looking housing estate when they mix it all together. I mean,
is there any developer that does not build with anyone else?
I think to be fair, Redrow tend to they like to develop on their own.
Standalone, yeah.
What Redrow have started doing though is actually buying a big plot of land and developing it themselves with two separate sites, with two separate
often two separate names.
Yeah.
So they'll split it, and you'll have the larger houses on one part, and that will have a name. You might have a couple of show homes.
Yeah.
And on another part, it might even be the same site, but the other end will have its own name and its own show homes because they might be the smaller houses. Like
Bellway, they get around it by actually having another company. So what I think is going to happen with Redrow is Redrow have now relaunched their Harwood brand, which basically they closed down. That Harwood was their starter home brand. Now it's not big news, and I'm hoping we are going to be the first to review Harwood when it's released. And that's what we're in negotiations with Redrow with at the moment. We've been invited up to St David's Park, which I'm really looking forward to because they've said he's going to give me a tour of St David's Park. It's like, that's a dream come true, that is. But yeah, so like Bellway, they've got Bellway Homes, and then they've got another company called Ashbury Homes. So they'll market on the same development. So I think Redrow will be doing the same. They will then be marketing Harwood on their development as well.
And yes, thank you very much. I did manage to get a hair appointment. So my hair
I need
nice.
Mine doing that.
I presume when they say the hair's looking great, they don't mean yours.
No, save it.
Right, next question.
Keep those questions coming,
Olivia
guys.
says, Olivia Newnham, do you think the modern new build bedrooms are big enough? I always feel like there isn't enough room for a chest of drawers and a desk in a child's room. I think it depends on the developer and the actual house that you're buying.
Yeah.
Ultimately, some new builds are perfectly spacious, aren't they? And a decent size. It depends on your budget. But others are tiny.
Yeah, it is true.
It depends. And most developers do a range of starter homes, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, what the first time buyers homes or downsizers or whatever, which are traditionally smaller ultimately. But even some of the 3 beds, you'll get your master bedroom with an ensuite, which is not a really great size. In other houses it'll be a super size.
There are 1 or 2 developers that are starting to put an ensuite into bedroom 2.
Greg Clark, do house builders have a requirement to provide green space / parks, etc. on housing estates? Does it come as a premium to live on a development like that?
I think it's more basically now the developers are expected to build communities rather than just housing estates now. And part of that community is to provide that open space. And you know, this is, I think, why they are held to ransom by councils of saying, well, we need this acreage of open space. That's why they have to cram as much, because they, believe me, land prices, they pay an arm and a leg for some land now, you know, and farmers who are selling land off now in Cheshire, there's some very rich ex-farmers about, I tell you, very rich. And they with this, you know, that what developers want to do.
It often depends on what they're starting with as well, because if they're adding to an existing town or community where there isn't the infrastructure to cope with that development, then
they have to
often
pay,
they've got to build it and they've got to pay for it.
I mean, that's, an example is not near me. I mean, I work in the school sector, and there's a school that I know of that's only a little village school. It badly needs some money, and a developer's rocked up and bought an old brownfield site, and they're going to develop the site, and actually they are going to have to pay money to that school to improve it, part of that deal.
Which is quite rightly so,
Yeah.
because how many houses is going to go on that site?
Yeah, well,
Hundreds.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's going to be hundreds of new kids that are going to need to go.
But
Well, there may not even be enough places in that school for those children.
well, remember during the 80s, there was none of that. They build the house, quick, have the profit, and away they go. And that's
But
why.
again, I think we're sorry. Go on.
And that's why a lot of these developers grew into these huge monsters, because they made pure profit. Now they have got to seriously.
The margins are less.
Yeah, so meaning they squeeze the plot density down and get as much on a site as they possibly can, because, you know, if you think of a green space, a ribbon of land which has got some benches on and a footpath, that's another 10 houses.
Which is also why they've stripped down house design as well.
It's about money ultimately.
Every brick in that house will have a cost value.
Yeah.
Every bit of embellishment, everything that makes it looks nice on the outside. So the plainer, the simpler the house, the less the cost to the developer ultimately.
Yeah.
And you would hope that they would pass that saving on, but then, you know, most people have got a budget, haven't they? And if your budget is for...
We always want something cheaper, don't we? Like I always say this about the high streets and stuff. We are to blame for the demise of the high streets because we want things cheaper. And it's the same with buying a house or buying a car. How much homework do you do when you're looking for the cheapest product? And that's it. When you're looking on the market, you've potentially got the likes of Persimmon being the cheapest, and that's what you're going to buy, ultimately.
Yeah. But I suppose to try and make a nice community and to make an area nice to live in, yes, they do have to provide a little park or a little...
There's a lot more open space than there used to be.
Yeah.
So let's be thankful for that at least.
Yeah, that has improved. But you're right. Basically, the local authorities call the shots, ultimately. Yeah. Right. Mark Johnson asks a good question. Do you prefer visiting show homes by large national house builders with a standard range, or do you prefer visiting show homes by smaller regional house builders?
Do you know what?
They don't always have a show home.
No.
First and foremost.
Do you remember when we
smaller developers?
Do you remember when we reviewed Walton and we went there and that house was a total surprise? I think smaller developers.
Oh, the one with the Louis Vuitton handbags.
But I think smaller developers can go all out on the style, whereas I think what we do when we're reviewing Taylor Wimpey and stuff is, you know, the same designer has furnished that show home, and we could go 100 miles up the road and we know that we see the same things. So you can imagine, guys, when we're reviewing them, and we've done it gets quite boring after a while, you know, and that's why we kind of, sometimes you need a break and you need to refresh what you're going to do. Hey,
sorry about that. Don't know what happened there.
I don't know whether it just gives you... No.
Give you a certain amount of time.
No, I think it
cuts you off.
I think it might do. Anyway, you're all back. We've lost a few watches.
Yeah. But ultimately, we have no preference with show homes. We'll go in any show home for any developer. In fact, we get invited to a lot of smaller builders, but with absolutely mind-blowing developments. But it just depends where they are, whether we can get there or not.
I think our first batch are going to be smaller builders, to be honest with you. That's what you're going to have
we've
first.
We've been asked to go to so many, haven't we?
Yeah.
And sometimes there's no fun for us in going in a show home on a development that we've been in 20 times before.
Yeah.
And for you guys, because if you want to look at that house type, we've been there, we've done it, haven't we?
One day we'll show you the outtakes.
Yeah. Right. Pammy asks, I don't really know whether we can answer this or not. Do you think new build prices will drop due to a no Brexit deal / current situation? I think a lot of people will sadly be made redundant after furlough ends, and so could be a factor in the market crash.
I think we kind of covered that question, didn't we? Where I said
We did.
The potentially the confidence in the market is gone, and when you're not confident about something, you're not going to make big purchases, are you? Ultimately.
I think there's big changes yet to come, isn't there? We have to wait and see.
I think it's just the start. If anybody's out there who's joined us and haven't asked a question, fire away. It could be a question about anything to do with show homes, or you could tell us about what house you've got.
Okay, Pamela Powell asks, are you going to look at bungalows?
There's just not enough of them, is there?
There's not enough of bungalow show homes, ultimately. Yeah. We've got a couple on the channel, haven't we?
Yeah.
But they are few and far between as show homes that we can actually view.
Yeah.
First of all, developers don't build them.
But I've seen
and then they don't have them as show homes, do they?
No.
They might. Some developers might put 1 or 2 token bungalows on a development, but often they will be snapped up off plan.
Usually, they are housing association normally.
Yeah, that's. So Natalie asked a similar question to what we covered before. Do you think we'll see less houses now that they will be changing the Help to Buy schemes? Oh, it's a similar, different question. I don't know.
Help to Buy has been like the saving grace of developers, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, help to Buy. Without Help to Buy, I think developers have to really do that. They have to start selling houses now, because the Help to Buy thing is just made it easier. You have this core of people who really want to buy their own first home, and half developments are all completely taken by right to buy. Help to Buy. So yeah, I think without Help to Buy, developers are really going to have to pull out the stops when it comes to marketing.
Yeah.
And use Showhomesonline.
Natalie says she can't wait to see our new content.
Yes.
On us. James says maybe we could go back after a year and interview the people who moved in. Developers may not like it. Yeah, probably not.
It'd be nice
again,
though. I wouldn't mind hearing
potential buyers.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind hearing from people who have actually. We've reviewed the show home, and you've actually bought it, and your experience of it. And send us a little video clip or something.
Jamie Bishop, have you had any gone wrong moments or been stopped from filming?
Absolutely. Well,
gone wrong moments like outtakes. Oh yeah, we were going to make a whole video of those. Yeah, with every house that we film, there's probably half an hour's worth of outtakes.
And arguing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Emma comes in and
everything involves a discussion, doesn't it? Whether it's the shots,
heated one.
Yeah.
So let's think back at some really memorable moments. I think for me, when we were trying to film that Bovis house in Teignmouth, in Devon, and they kept going every time we were doing the take of the outside. They would drive up with the truck, so we had to tell them to stop in the end. One where we've been stopped when we've been in mid-flow.
We've had that with road sweepers and things spitting up all over the windows. Oh, you name it, we've had it. We've had it where it's rained, because we film in all weather, so we've had rain, snow, hail, everything while you've been on the doorstep.
Yeah.
We've had sales staff coming in while we're halfway round, or members of the public just walking in.
Do you know what? The snapshots videos are basically videos that we've had potentially a sales lady or a sales member of staff escorting us round, and we had to cut her out to try and get the thing. Says you want us showing you around, yeah, but the sales lady wants.
I think one of the worst things that goes wrong is the cameras as well. We've had technical failures more times than I care to remember.
Check this, yeah.
And then we've had to start again, or the batteries died, because we've always got spare batteries, or the cameras died and then never works again. You name it, we've had it.
Checked this one out for really embarrassing. We went all the way from Shropshire to Devon, and then realised there was a fault with the microphone. We didn't take it, and we had to go back there the very same day.
No, we went 3 days later.
Yeah. Oh, how embarrassing!
And that was actually a collaboration, wasn't it, with a developer? So we were working. It was a beautiful house by the sea. It was fantastic. And yeah, when we got back, no sound on that video, so we did have to go back and do it again. Essentially for free.
Actually, it become one of our. In actual fact, it become actually statistically one of the most viewed videos.
Yeah,
so actually, I think we
had to do it.
It was worth coming back for. But yeah, sometimes when we're filming, you'll have a member of the public come in, and we have to stop the film. It ruins the continuity of it.
Or people will walk in and say, "Oh, we know who you are," and then they want to chat to us.
I can remember in Plymouth. I can remember in Plymouth, we turned up at this one show home. It was a Charles Church one, and the sales lady was actually watching us on her tablet as we walked through the door. She nearly died of a shock, didn't she?
Right, Anik, yeah, asks, which kind of house do you own? From which builder, if any?
Well, this house is
even I know the answer to that, to be honest.
This house was built in 1979, 1980, so it's quite a big house. You can see you've got the dining room behind us. It's the typical, and at the front there we've got quite a big window that looks out. It's a very, very plain looking house, but very spacious. As we were saying about 70s and 80s houses, it was built by a company called George Stubbings, he was a kind of West Midlands type of developer. Got quite big back in the day, but like all things, they ended up, when we lost a lot of house builders in the 80s. And this house is actually called, the house type is the Harlech, it's called.
Wasn't this a show home?
Yeah, it was an original show home.
And in fact, the house the bungalow that we moved from to buy this, that was the show home as well, wasn't it? So we lived in ex-show homes.
We're buying ex-show homes unintentionally. But the development was actually called Long Champs, which is named after horse. I think it's to do with horse racing or something. But it's all right. It's a good size house.
Well, we bought it though, and we have renovated it entirely.
Absolutely.
We like a project more than anything, and we've completely redone all the garden, because obviously Steve was a landscaper. The whole lot was done, wasn't it? Just after we moved in, the hot summer 2 years ago. That was when. Yeah, it was beautiful. Right. Mark Johnson asks, have you ever encountered any overzealous sales staff? What was your funniest experience when visiting a show home? Well, we won't be taking this crazy puppy. Look at her, Steve. Look, she's around my neck. Is it because we're not talking to you? Yes, we have experienced many overzealous sales staff. We've also experienced loads of lovely ones as well. That some of them are absolutely fab, aren't they?
It just seems to be the younger ones kind of get it. When we're sent to a show home from head office and we are discussing it, they seem very resistant at the time, because I think they think, well, why are they paying for a company to come and review their show home, and they look at their own job and think, well, what do they want to do? Yeah, what's that all about? I think
as well, when we first started, we were the only ones that were doing this.
It was hard.
And they'd never seen anybody coming into show homes before and wanting to film it and walk round. They pretty much had the final say on how things went on their development. And it was it was a very new thing, wasn't it, when we started? And then eventually after a couple of years, they started to say, "Oh yeah, we've seen your videos, and yeah, we know what you do." And,
There was
developers were then asking us to go in, and it just became more normal.
We started getting really with the developers is when we did one bad review, and there was no hiding it really, and they were really like didn't want to know, and then just one day we just the seas parted and we ended up having a conversation about it, and we've kind of worked with them ever since, and you know, kind of as well, developers kind of think as well we're the eyes and ears really of theirs, because we've been in, and you've got sales staff making toast and stuff, and you know, leaving the sides dirty and not respecting the show home. So you know, we
changed the way that people view houses in a lot of ways now, because
there's a lot
I've seen the views on our channel. It hadn't been done before, had it?
No.
Before we started doing it. Right, I'm going to stop you there. James O'Toole says, sometimes, Steve, we think you might be getting told off when you're off camera for general chatting. He gets told off for lots of things.
Right, let's just put it like this, right? You've got my fans, so to speak, right, who will message me and say stuff about Emma, so I end up deleting the comments so she doesn't see them. They say that she needs to keep her mouth shut, let the man talk, and all sorts of stuff like that. And obviously you see comments about me, so we have got, there's what
but you do get told off because you talk too much.
There's one called Lynn, My Sussex Life I think it is, and she's always going on about you. No. Well, I'm the brains of the outfit, aren't I?
So, EUOI, how do you pronounce that? Yui. Would you buy a new build house that was next to affordable housing?
God, affordable housing.
Lots of people do.
Well, they normally hide them, don't they? They tuck them around in the back. It's clever planning, but they try to stop them doing that now, and try and them to become more mainstream. Apparently, you should not be able to see an affordable. Well, hang on, are we talking affordable or housing association?
Yeah, because there's a big difference.
Yeah, because affordable housing could be a Rufford by Persimmon, couldn't it? It's the word affordable means different things to different people.
Yeah.
You know.
Although a lot of them get away with now not putting the housing association ones on there.
Yeah.
So you know, there's ways around it. Right, Steve Morrison. Do you think builders' extras / choices are value for money? Are you finding that builders are now charging for finishes that used to be included?
Yeah, that's
how they make their money.
They've got to make money. They've got to have
business, aren't they?
Yeah, I think certain developers who were having the all-inclusive standard. What I'm really looking forward to this season.
Can you lift the baby up? Thank you.
She's
trying to get up.
What I'm looking forward to this season is actually seeing how many developers have dropped the bells and whistles, because certain developers are not, like Bovis for instance. Do you remember the signs? Included. I'm included.
Yes.
You know, is that still happening?
Right. Tom Bruce says, how do developers decide which houses to use as show homes on their developments? Good question, and we do know the answer to this.
Yeah. Choosing a show home is a very important thing. So they go on these factors. What is their most popular house type? One they're going to sell the most of. Have they got more of those on that site than anywhere else? But also, it's about looking at the wider area. So in the neighbouring towns where they've got developments, have they got that show home? So what they want to try and do is have their portfolio in an area where you can almost, with a bit of travelling, travel to each of the different show homes and have a look. But a show home also has to be in a prominent position. So it also has to have a double garage, or it has to have a share garage. David Wilson chose 3 garages to convert. Taylor Wimpey, they tend to want to take the front of the house out and have a really nice big sales.
But then there's some developers that will have a 4-bed and a 2-bed next to each other.
Redrow got the right idea because Redrow have now a separate sales hub, a big one, where they can have the model of the development there, and then they've got their show homes there, and then they take the hub away, and then they build the another house on it.
And it's often about planning, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
obviously the layout of that development has to go through planning, and there will be discussion about which houses front the development.
Yeah, and what their showrooms are. So they're called, and that's the curb appeal, isn't it? So when you're driving up a development, you should be able to see those show homes there, because they'll all be lit up with floodlights and stuff. But Persimmon, they're not really. Persimmon aren't asked about great show areas. They just have one show house,
Yeah,
and in some cases a single garage.
yeah.
Just go in
One
there,
house.
no messing about.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
I've done it again.
yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yes, right. Greg, right. What are the rules behind brownfield and greenfield building? Do house builders have to use land that has previously been built on before moving on to green space, etc.?
No.
No, they don't.
No, do you know what? If a farmer wants to sell some land to it,
Yeah.
a developer would much prefer to develop a site, a greenfield
Greenfield.
site, because you can roll on it, strip the topsoil off, and start straight away.
Yeah.
Brownfield type site, you're already spending money before you've even got there, because you've got surveys to be doing, etc.
It can actually cost them millions to clean that site up before they can actually build on it as well.
And you'll find that on most brownfield sites, the plot density is a lot. The plot density is a lot higher because they need to make their money back.
Yeah. But yeah, ultimately they'd all like to build on greenfield, wouldn't they?
Do you know when that thing happened in when the government started opening up land for development, Cheshire was it was a field day over there completely.
Yeah, it was.
Literally, their land, all that greenfield land, was being snapped up straight away. And then basically, what happened is we had Stoke-on-Trent that had many brownfield sites waiting to develop, old pottery works, etc. And they are developers. And as soon as the nearby Old Sager, Sandbach, etc. in Cheshire opened up, they all went over there, made loads of money, and then left Stoke. And Stoke, you know, there's only a couple of developers in Stoke that are tackling brownfield sites, and that's Persimmon and Keepmoat.
But then sometimes local authorities don't exactly give them a lot of incentive to develop brownfield sites either,
No,
do they?
there is
so they
no
think, well, why? We're going to
Yeah.
make the money anyway,
Yeah.
so why go to all the effort of trying to clean up places that really need the investment?
But some of the
Because it involves more effort,
In
much
our
more
Midlands
effort, much more
region,
money.
St Modwyn, Persimmon, and St Modwyn, Persimmon, and Keepmoat are leading regeneration specialists.
Look at this one, she's like a ferret. Right, oh, Natalie says we've got the best banter. Well, that's because we're married and we live together all the time.
Yeah.
You know, we're just an old married
Yeah.
couple. What
Well,
are the names of the babies? Well, that's the baby, and her name is Luna.
Luna,
Loony Luna.
Luna.
Because she was born on the full moon,
short for lunatic.
and she's a complete nutcase. And this is her mum, Titch.
Let
and
me
she's
bring
a
Titch in a little bit
Titch
closer
is a
so you can have a
very
look.
good girl.
So there you go, that's Titch.
So Titch is a cross, a sort of terrier cross with a chihuahua.
We don't know what
Um,
she's crossed with.
But she's such a good girl, isn't she? And she'd
Yeah.
had a dreadful time before.
Oh, you sound like one of them adverts now.
She really needed a nice home, and we were heartbroken
Yeah.
after losing
She
Roxy.
was
By the way,
actually-
if you're just wondering who this is, Roxy. This
No, it isn't.
is Roxy.
She was actually found in a ditch, wasn't she?
She was
She was
tied
found
up with 2 other dogs.
on a gypsy camp in North Shropshire somewhere, and left in there in a ditch.
Anyway, so we rehomed her, and then
Then we got a
it's
free
funny 'cause
dog.
I took her to the vets for her second lot of vaccinations about 3 weeks after we got her, and our vet found a lump in her uterus, and he said, well, it could be a tumour or something. And I said, or could it be a baby? And he said, well, yes. So then she had a scan, didn't she? And we went for a scan and we were stood there like expectant parents, and we found out that the baby was on the way. So, yeah, and between then and Luna being born, we were due to go on holiday to America. So yeah, so it was a bit of a busy time. Anyway, all right, hello, you're back again. Okay, right. Mark Johnson says, if you could bring back a developer that no longer exists, who would it be? But are you going to say McLean?
No, Westbury.
Westbury, yeah.
Although we have to say, just actually, do you know what? Westbury Homes, we're a big developer, and Persimmon have moved their offices to Telford now, so they're only around the corner from us. So I can still kind of, my plan is to infiltrate that building. But on the side of the building, it said Persimmon, Charles Church in Westbury. So they actually have kept the Westbury brand name for a future. I think they are doing. I think it's called Westbury Partnerships or something, where they're doing like timber frame building solutions and things like that. Bring back Westbury.
Right, Charlie says, are you seeing any new home developers including air conditioning as an extra?
No.
I've never seen a show home with aircon.
No, that'd be
Although
good.
that is a seriously good idea. We could do with it here.
I think it's a good idea, Charlie. I think that'd be something that we could do with doing.
Right. Would you rather live in a 2-storey or a 3-storey new build?
We'd have a bungalow now.
Yeah, we'd have a bungalow again in the future.
Yeah.
Well, no. I love the 3 stories because I love that great big bedroom with the ensuite. They're usually huge, those bedrooms, aren't they? But
Yeah, the Alton G.
Not good.
The Alton G, for instance.
Not good for me.
No, give me a good detached 2-storey house will do me nicely.
For now.
For now.
Right, Avril asks, have you been to visit any new show homes since they've been able to reopen?
No, we're just we're in planning at the moment, so there's a lot of emails going backwards and forwards. So the first batch of show homes, I'm going to be putting some show homes on. I'm going to clear our backlog over the next couple of weeks, and that's all what we've got left in the bag, so to speak. Then we're going to start reviewing some smaller developers, just some one-off houses and stuff like that. Then we'll start bringing you the portfolio. With COVID, we've got to really be careful how we plan this in, you see, because there's obviously a lot of health and safety that's got to be adhered to.
And we've got the girls now as well.
Yeah.
Right, James O'Toole says, we were told on looking at show homes that the sales team have an inventory list as viewers take stuff. In any show homes you have visited, have you ever gone, wow, would really like to take that home?
I don't.
Are you asking if we've stolen things from a show home?
Never.
We've never. No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't have a business if we did, would we? We wouldn't get very far. But yes, we've been in some show homes where I've tried on the hats and the handbags, and yeah, they've been beautiful. But no.
I'm not interested really.
No, you're not interested.
I'm not really. As you know, I'm interested in how
ultimately, yeah, the bits and bobs are just embellishments, aren't they?
I tell you what, a question I want to ask the viewers.
Go on then.
Have you ever taken a pee in a show home?
Yeah.
Come on.
In a sealed toilet.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken the towel and the seal off and just had a quick wee?
Because you always put towels on the toilets, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't, because it ain't worth our life.
No.
Because you know, has anybody done that though?
So loads and loads of questions about asking what we think about the housing market and will it recover, etc.
Yeah.
I think we've already covered that. I think we've just got to wait and see.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Stop fighting, you two.
I think it's baby. She wants you to pick her up.
Well, get here then.
Call her over.
You little rodent.
Avril's asking if we've got any plans to come to Derby.
Yep, I think a Derby trip. I do like Derby. I wouldn't mind doing some more, getting in a couple of strata homes.
Oh, they did some.
Although
nice
they
houses.
did say they didn't want us to work with them, but that's not going to stop us.
Well, I think there might be a few that will change their minds,
Yeah.
you know, if the housing market goes into decline.
But guys, it's really, you know, it's really important as well as you two, you know, and if you guys have been influenced by us buying a house and stuff, get on Twitter and bombard them, send them messages saying you need to be working with Showhomesonline, because you know they will listen to you because you are the buyers.
Alfie says, hi, really love your channel and really been missing it. Thank you,
We missed you guys too. This is why we're doing this.
Right,
because...
Joseph's asking you, have you ever been in a Gleeson home?
No, but
we never have.
They remind me of Persimmon a little bit, but I know Gleeson are more a kind of northwest builder, aren't they? But Gleeson come from a big construction company back in the day. But yeah, the houses don't jump out at me, but actually I like the brickwork. I like the coloured banded brickwork that they use.
Yui is asking, or U-O-R-E-U-O-I, I really am sorry about not knowing how to pronounce your name.
That's okay.
Would you buy a 4-bed house if it only had one parking space? No.
Interesting, that one, actually. Isn't
Do they
it funny
exist?
that in the 90s, in the 90s, every 4-bedroom house would have had a double garage pretty much, or at best a tandem garage. But what they tend to do now is you're looking to get a garage, full stop, aren't you? Really,
Yeah,
you'll just get 2 parking spaces.
2 parking spaces, but they do build 4 beds without a garage.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just as a little side note, when we bought this house, Steve, you didn't even want to come in the house because we've got a double garage, and that was, you just said to the lady, open the garage. But we went straight in there.
The irony is that we bought the house because we had the landscaping business, and a good double garage was favourable. Only now, I'm not a landscaper anymore. They're redundant completely. I've got a redundant.
No, they're not redundant. They're absolutely full of your stuff. Yeah.
A few mowers.
And we have somewhere to put the garden furniture when we put it all away in the winter.
In our house, though, we do have an office each. So I've got an office at the front where I make a lot of my films. And remember I told you, Telford Ultimate Guide, find it on YouTube. And Emma's got an office as well where she does sewing and stuff like that in there, don't you?
Yeah, bits and bobs.
Although,
yeah, and I also use the dining room too, don't I?
She's using the dining room now because she's working from home.
Yeah, everyone's working from home.
Unfortunately, I'm not.
So Natalie says no. Oh my God, I wouldn't dream of it. I presume she means stealing things from show homes. No, we wouldn't either. James says, Steve, trying the handbags, laugh out loud.
I do like to try. I will try the hats on every now and again. I might surprise you.
The men's hats.
Yeah, whenever I see one. But I like the quirkiness of some shows where you do see stuff and you just go, oh, that's quite unique.
Yeah. James Bishop says, oh sorry, no. Miles Hamilton says lots of new developments in Potton. Yeah, we've been there.
We will come back. It's like been taken over. It's like become a huge village now.
Jamie Bishop. Never used the toilets, but have turned the taps on to test the water pressure.
Water pressure?
We've turned the showers on before now and got soaked.
I'll go in a shower though, just to make sure, because you know I'm a big guy, you know what I mean? And I like to see there's enough room in that shower cubicle for the more muscly type of man, you know.
Right, what's this that Mark Johnson's saying? With another change of executive top team and many issues with reputation, and then it moves, what do you predict for the future of Persimmon Homes?
No, Mark Johnson. I know Mark Johnson. He's on my Facebook, and he does message me now and again. And sometimes I don't reply because I am a very busy person, aren't I? And I do apologise for that, Mark. But I've noticed you this week have been on the Persimmon, I Hate Persimmon Homes or Persimmon Homes Cowboy site, posting pictures of back gardens. I saw him this week. Oh. Mark, just for the viewers who are in the chat, Mark Johnson is a bit of a house nut like me. He knows quite a lot about there is another one. And he's been talking to me on and off of Facebook and stuff like that. And he, like you say, he's a good guy. But I forgot what the question was.
Right, well, Avril, she says, Steve, as a former landscaper, would you mind showing us your garden? Just not at the moment.
God.
Not while we're in the middle of this, but...
I'll tell you what I'll do for you. I will put a picture on Showhomesonline
on the Facebook page.
Later. How's that grab you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It is beautiful, but bear in mind it's taken both of us, hasn't it? So you built it as a landscaper, and you did all of the driveway. The front garden is all landscaped as well.
Yeah.
We've got a pond with a waterfall and everything.
Just when we were
you built a beautiful garden. We stripped it out, completely started again. But you have absolutely no interest in plants or gardening. So what Steve built me was a bare garden, essentially. We've got a hot tub. So in the 2 years since then,
which
I'm a
I don't
gardener,
use actually.
and I have grown it, and it's beautiful because of the plants.
Yeah.
So
I don't use the hot tub very much, to be honest with you. You see, I spent like 25 years building gardens, and you know, in the end, we've done. I tell you, I'm sure you've seen me on me and Emma sometimes on DIY SOS, because we've done a couple of DIY SOS gardens. Designed and built them. Yeah, I think in series 27 we did one of
welcome,
that.
Avril says she'll look for that later.
Yeah,
so.
The thing is about designing gardens is, you know, we ended up doing gardens for millionaires, so we've done some incredible gardens, but it just comes to the time where I think it gets to your health eventually, and it's hard work, and so time for a change. I got a good job now. I enjoy doing it, and it's it's within management, and working with people and developing people's skills. So it's a good job.
So Alfie says, is it bad that I can spend up to 2 hours a day on Rightmove?
Yeah, because you should be spending
Get a life.
2 hours a day on Showhomesonline.
Yeah, he's probably watched all our videos.
To be fair, Alfie.
Depends what you're looking for.
Alfie, I do tend to go on Rightmove on the app, and I'll put my favourites in there, and I will go and I'll look at the floor plan, and I'll look at Telford, Shrop, Shrewsbury, Milton Keynes, and I will look at what's going on, because you just never know. Because I like a lot of developers put their house types on there. And they sell their houses. They've started selling their houses through Rightmove, and that's something you'll see if you start to see a dent in the market. It's going to be, you'll see the houses start appearing on Rightmove. So there was I think there was a Facebook page called Rightmove Addicts, I think it was, or a Twitter page or anything, But just out of interest, guys, we have another Facebook page. We've got our main Showhomesonline page, but we've actually got another page called Showhomesonline Followers, and that's a group basically for people who are a bit, they like the Showhomes, and on there we can show you a few more outtakes and stuff like that. I'm hoping to put a bit more on it. So find us on Facebook, add yourself and click a like onto Showhomesonline Followers.
Alfie says he's watched all our videos.
Oh, Alfie, that's a lot of videos.
That's a lot of videos.
Alfie's sounds like Alfie's a fan.
Yeah.
That name sounds familiar to me.
Alfie Bettison.
I know who you are. He's one of, I know who Alfie is. Alfie's he's only a young lad.
Right.
He is, yeah, and he does know a fair bit about houses. That one.
Okay.
So Alfie, you need to send me a Facebook request.
And Tom Bruce says he loves looking at site plans and brochures.
Me too. Do you know what? I have the largest archive of brochures, house type brochures, from all decades. I have a cupboard full of them, and they're my prized possessions. There's only one guy who has got an equally good collection, and it's a guy who I trade with, who lives in Canada, and, and we keep meaning to do a trade, but it's really expensive to send a bundle of house plans that big across to him.
Right. Serious question, Steve. We live in a 4-year-old Miller Homes Buchan house.
Oh yeah, I know, in the bucket, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you consider designing and developing landscaping our blank canvas garden? No. Our landscaping days are over.
No, unfortunately.
They are. We
Unfortunately.
don't do it anymore.
What a shame.
25 years you did it. Man
Man
and boy. Alfie says, yes, he's 15.
I thought he was. I knew the name, you see. Up and coming. So, Alfie, if you're listening, if you were to buy a house, actually, you're not going to buy one just yet, but Alfie, what house type is your favourite? Get back to me. Come on.
And Tom Bruce, I'm 14.
You some young uns on here, isn't there?
Okay.
Up and coming. Well,
There you go. Oh, look at that. They're meeting up. They're talking. Right. Mark Johnston, do you feel the UK has a genuine housing shortage and needs the 1 million new homes being pushed by the government?
yeah, Boris, didn't he? Boris said, build, build, build. Build, build, build more houses. Do you know what, guys? You know, I'm on the inside. There are some big villages being planned around, I tell you. Even around here, there's 2 big villages, you know, going up. I think they're going to be speeding up planning. The whole point of this is speeding up planning applications so we can get these sites moving. I think there's going to be an absolute boom in the next kind of year or so with houses, and I can already see it. I think, you know, there's plenty of land out there, plenty of villages, for, you know, land. You know,
I suppose it depends on jobs ultimately, doesn't it? It's the economy in general.
they're going to build. They'll only build houses if they've got people to buy them.
Right. Is that it for questions?
Well,
anyone
I thought
else
we'd
got
go
anything
to about 1:45.
fine
Is there anything else?
Pretty much.
Okay,
Yeah,
then that'll be
Alfie and
fine.
Tom have been chatting. So.
Well, them two need to link up then, don't they?
Oh. Yeah,
Don't they?
I think that's the end of the questions. We've had literally, gosh, that's hundreds.
Well, guys,
So,
you know, you I really appreciate that, don't we?
My arm's gone to sleep now, and so is this baby dog. Right.
That's
Oh
it
my
then.
word. So at least you know where we've been all these months now. We've been busy with one thing and another. Life just takes over. This dog is trying to bite my face off.
So
She's so naughty.
we are going to be moving things forward. And don't forget a couple of things. You need, if you're not on the Facebook page, Showhomesonline, like and subscribe to that. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. We've got Showhomesonline followers. So, like I said, that's if you are a real big fan of houses and you want to kind of see a little bit of behind the scenes stuff because I'm with Showhomesonline. Maybe I'll pop some old brochures on there and stuff like that. Get yourself on there because that's where, you know, our fans are. That's what we want on there. But yeah, Mark, we are going to be travelling north again. It's difficult. It's where the developers will send us really, and where they want us, because, you know, we will say, well, what do you want us to do? What would you prefer us to do? You know, but expect some great stuff coming from us. Getting things into gear. And, you know, feel free to message us anytime you like. And, you know, and we just thank everybody for joining us tonight. Much appreciated. And anybody who's viewing this thread, this live chat after we've finished, I hope you enjoy it, okay? Over and out.
Bye, guys. It'll be on it.